you kind of elaborate on it a little bit?
Made a couple extra copies of that. Asked, let me sort of pass those down.
I've already seen it, I didn't want to go to previously.
We've been contacted by a couple different attorneys who are representing the bank, representing the buyer, and also the seller of this lot on Lakeview Estates. Apparently, the water well is just outside the actual property line within the dedicated town highway. Lakeview Drive is a dedicated town highway, so the town actually owns it, unlike a town highway by use, which we only have the right of way over. So what happens is where Lakeview Drive hits Hill Road, it widens out to a larger than 50-foot normal right of way. And so when they put that well in, somebody apparently didn't pay attention to surveyor stakes or whatever, and so it is just technically within the highway right of way. And the buyer's attorney wanted to make sure that they could keep the well there, so they want an easement simply saying that they can keep the well where it is, and that if the well ever failed and they had to drill a new well, they'd have, the easement provides they have to drill, within their, boundary lines. The well is about 20 feet off the pavement. I mean, it's quite a ways. 32 feet off the pavement?
32 foot off the pavement.
So, they really had no idea, whoever drilled it, that they were anywhere close to the highway right away.
And the highway narrows up right there. It isn't as wide as it is where it comes into Hill Road. It actually narrows up right there, right by that well piece.
The actual pavement.
Not the pavement.
Yeah, as opposed to the right of way sort of expands. And so that it's not consequential. I mean, it shouldn't affect the road use or digging in the road or anything else.
You get over that far with the plows, there's going to be a big problem.
But nonetheless, so that the homeowner and the proposed homeowner are looking just for something to make it legal for that well to be just over the line.
It was never our well or whatever, so that's, anyway, we'll do have a resolution for that later.
Can I say something, please? I mean, you want to make sure the town's not liable for any contamination then. I mean, if they're going to use that water in town.
There is a hold harmless provision in the easement.
Under new business, we need to advertise for cemetery mowing bids. In the past, we've said seven mows per year. We, mowing them 7 times doesn't keep them like a lawn, but I don't know if we are, happy with that, cost-wise, and that type of thing. State law says we do have to maintain them, but, it's always been 7 mows, but, it's up for discussion. I know last year there was a couple of times we had calls that people weren't real thrilled over the condition of them. So, we need to advertise, and I guess I'm asking if we need to change, we'll put the ad.
I think that last year could be quite, I don't know if this end, did you ever get 7 mows in?
I believe you got 7 moles, yes, but there were times that it certainly was.
I heard the over bids, he did too many jobs, couldn't mow the lawn once he got that one, so that's just something.
Yeah.
Should we put a little extra word in there that says, due to conditions, required for 7, if conditions, go through, like sometimes we have rain, you can't mow when it's raining, and all of a sudden sun comes out, the grass grows like this. I mean, you might have to mow it twice instead of once. Should there be some little thing in there that we can, I mean, some wording, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. The thing is, you know, if we require them to mow more, it's gonna cost them. You know, whoever does it. You know, I think, you know, other people that have been it before mow it more frequently, but they cost twice as much money too. So that's, you know, this guy here is still inexpensive compared to what we've done in the past. But, you know, it's gonna go out for bids anyway. Who knows what the bids will come in this year.
Does it need a minimum of 7 for
Yeah.
7 hours?
That's what it always has been.
We figure it's at least 5 months of mowing,
Yes.
5 months, so 20 weeks. 7 times, only once every 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to like your personal lawn. We could up it, but it'll cost money to, if we say it's gotta be done or whatever.
Something in there that it's mowed before Memorial Day,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maximum grass.
you know, maximum grass.
I gotta make some decisions, because I gotta get this in, working on it.
Yeah, yeah, we could put a maximum grass height. 8 inches, 6 inches.
It's up. I just thinking, you know, measuring grass, it's tough. It's tough. I'm trying to think, you know, I have no idea how high mine is. Really, I never took a,
Well, no, it's not gonna be mowed like your lawn.
no, I know, but I'm just thinking like once every 3 weeks is okay, I mean, in July when it's maybe dry, but.
May
and June.
maybe 3 days, yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning, it's always,
It's tough, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't seem though in the beginning, it wasn't when he had problems, it was later on in the season I had a problem. And when I did call him, he did come to mow. So, whatever the board thinks.
No, let's leave it at 7 and see how it goes this year.
Yeah.
Just at the Memorial Day.
Yeah.
You wanna add that in?
It's like rain all year.
Okay, so do we have a motion to advertise for bids for cemetery mowing?
So,
Second.
All those in
Okay,
favor?
who said so moved?
Yeah.
Jim? Okay.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, do I need to, that was advertised for sand bids, right?
Yes.
Already? Oh, we got through
Gives
this
them
week.
the summer to make it up.
Now, would you be looking at sand or stone dust or a combination?
Wash sand,
Wash sand.
yep, or the regular icing material. That's the price differences.
And you'll get the information to Tracy or
Yes.
Sally to,
No, should be there, but yeah, we made it up earlier this week.
okay. Yeah. All right, do we have a motion to advertise for sand bids?
I make the motion we advertise.
Second? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Stokes, you talk to us about the natural gas utility project, please, for Village of Hamilton?
Yes. Good evening, and thank you everyone for allowing me to appear before you tonight. I'm here on behalf of the Village of Hamilton, and as you may have read in the paper or heard from your neighbors, the Village of Hamilton, which you probably know has its own municipal electric utility, last year formed a municipal natural gas utility, which is also regulated by the New York State Public Service Commission. And the reason for forming that utility was to bring natural gas service into the Village of Hamilton, which currently does not have it. The concept is to tie into the Tennessee pipeline, which obviously runs through the town of Madison here, install a new pipe. Goes from that pipeline through certain lands in the town of Madison, through the town of Eaton, and then would enter the village of Hamilton over near Woodman Pond. And the reason I'm here tonight is, in addition to simply giving you some background information on the project, is that under the regulations of the State Public Service Commission, when any kind of regulated utility, which includes this village gas utility, seeks to operate or install facilities outside its own boundaries, then it needs a franchise agreement from the host municipality. So in this case, since the tap site and some of the gas main would be here in the town of Madison, we're here to start the process of seeking your approval for such a franchise agreement. The franchise agreement is a pretty basic document, which essentially says, with the approval of the highway superintendent and under his guidelines and specifications, we would be able to install gas main facilities within the rights of way of town roads. But more importantly, the franchise agreement gives us the ability to serve the legal authority to serve customers within the town as well. So that's why we need a franchise agreement. That's why you're here tonight asking you to begin the process of considering that. I'm going to pass out some documents here. And the top document is just simply a proposed resolution to schedule a public hearing. Like any other franchise agreement, a public hearing is required before the town board can even consider approval. Attached to that resolution is a copy of the proposed franchise agreement. Supply that to Mr. Yetman. He needs a little more time to review that, but we're not asking you to take any kind of action on this tonight. This is just a way of introducing the project. And you'll see that I gave you with that resolution a map. And I need to, you see it stamped draft all over it. And I just need to emphasize and probably overemphasize, this is not necessarily the final route of the project. But let me just explain what this represents. You'll see at the very top center of the drawing, you can see Bobville is denoted there. It's contemplated, and none of this is finalized. It's all in the draft stage, working with property owners and so forth. But it's contemplated we would tap the Tennessee pipeline between Bobville and Madison in the area of Valley Propane, Madison County Tourist, to the south of those projects. From there, we cross lands generally owned by Mr. Carhart, and you'll see it would cross Bona Road. Cross under it, it would be a bore. Well, maybe Bona Road, but generally a bore under the roads. And then at some point, when those fields come under the ownership of the Moisture Farm, and we would cross into the town of Eaton, northeast of the intersection of Route 12B and 46. Once it crosses 46, and again, that would be a bore under the state highway, there's an old railroad bed there, and we generally follow that railroad bed down into the village of Hamilton in the airport area, where we go directly into the village. So the red line that you see there that comes down between Canal Road and State Route 12B is a conceptual line. Doesn't mean that's exactly where it's going to be. We're working with the engineers and property owners, but frankly, to come up with the best location for it. But conceptually, it would most likely be in that area between those two highways. And one of the questions that has come up is, what about serving the school here in Madison? And certainly, that's a possibility. And the engineers are looking at that right now in terms of plotting out how that would be routed as well as the cost. And one of the potential customers in the village of Hamilton is the Hamilton Central School. And I know there's some discussions about getting state aid possibly for conversion of fuel supply. So that's something we have to explore here as well. But certainly is something that the engineers are actively looking at. So if you see see some engineers, some of you may have seen engineers are out here already in fields staking or flagging. If you see some engineers down this way, that's what they're doing. At the public hearing, I'll bring one of the engineers, one of the technical experts, and he can answer questions about the line technically. But if you have any questions at this point, I'd be happy to answer them.
What happens if a property owner doesn't want that going through their property,
Then we probably wouldn't go through that property.
but it could jeopardize the entire project, then, couldn't it? If it's a
Well,
large landowner?
It could make it more difficult, yes. We'd likely have to find an alternate route.
And have the property owners that are along that route agreed to it at this point?
We have nothing in mind with any. We've been in discussion with all the property owners.
Seems like it'd be closer to the highway in order to catch into the businesses and that type of thing.
Yeah, and that's, and I, in our last project conference call, I asked about that, and I was told I was going to get an updated map, but I don't have it yet. This is an early version where they just kind of plot the line down to the field.
When is this proposed to start?
It's possible, if everything fell into place, it's possible they could do some of the work maybe this fall. And the only idea of that would be to try to get that narrow window after the crops come off, before winter sets in. But most of the work, and quite possibly all the work, will begin in the spring of 2014.
Now, is a lot of this horizontal pouring, or?
As far as the, anything going under the roads generally would be, and again, we work with your highway superintendent for what you prefer, but that's what I've been hearing, that would be all fours. A lot, it's plastic pipe, it's a relatively low pressure line, and some of it, I guess, that can be put in with a tile type device on a tile block. They wouldn't have to trench it necessarily, but anything that goes, there's an extensive environmental review process that's underway, and anything that goes through an agricultural field has to be, state ag markets requirements. So any trenches have to be double trenched, the topsoil is peeled off, stockpiled, and the trenches is backfilled, and then the topsoil is put back on. There's anti-compaction procedures that they have to follow to make sure.
Jim, what size is the main?
You know, I'm not sure exactly, and I can get that for you, but it's relatively small. It's nothing like the high pressure main, the main line we're taking.
Is it less than 12 inches?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
It would be less.
And again, don't hold me to this, but I think it's either 4 or 6.
So this tonight is basically just for information to get us up.
Information to ask that you schedule a public hearing to work with your main, say at that time I'll bring some technical expertise with me, and as far as that goes, Mr. General will have more time to look at the franchise agreement. But that's the essence of it. It allows us to serve customers in the town. And without the franchise agreement, we can't do it.
Well, the board want to schedule a public hearing for next month?
Now, a follow-up question. According to this tentative map that you've given us, it appears like it goes right in front of Madison Marketplace. What about the possibility of those folks at Madison Marketplace, or those people on English Ave, or some other neighbors in that area, wanting to tap into that land, or that line? What's the procedure?
Actually, we've been in touch with the owners of Madison Marketplace, and quite certainly engineers have been over there to evaluate their load, and certainly we've made it known to them that service would be available if they choose to do so, and it would be available to English Ave is a little different because you've got to remain the individual homes, but it certainly, all of that is a possibility.
Mr. Gavin, you got